Okay, let's apply what we did in class today on homework and see how you're doing on this. So question 1 says using the tables below, determine the tax amount for each filing status. So here we have a 60,900 that's single. So looking up at the 60,000 table, following down to the 60,900, do you see it down there in the second to last row? At least the second to last row. And then follow across to the single. I've got a tax amount of, how'd you do? Did you get 11,003? So notice it has to be in that second to last column because it's got to be at least 60,900. So it's got to be over here on this side, not the third to last column because that's less than or equal to that number. Okay, let's go do the next one. Next one's going to be in the second column because it's married filing jointly. So 63,500. It's going to be in the 63,000 box. 63,500, following it down. Again, I'm on this third section in the top row, at least 63,500, and then I follow it across to married filing jointly, the second column. Do you see it there? What'd you get? You got it, 8601. Next is married filing separately, 57,850. So looking in the 57,000 box, following it down to the 850. Remember, we need this third to last row because it's got to be at least 57,850. Follow it across to the third column. See what you get. Did you get the 10,240? How'd you do? So 57,850. Follow it across, 10,240. All right, finally, head of household, I'm going to the 63,000 box, and I go down to 63,500. I'm in the top row of the third section, followed across all the way to the end to the head of household column. Did you get 10,179? Good job. Okay, reading that tax table is a skill we're going to need for filing the returns, so hopefully you're getting good at finding those rows and columns. On the next one, we're using the tax schedule below to calculate the tax for each of these for head of household. And you're going to notice on the worksheet that there is no tax amount given. So can you go ahead and just let's all decide on an income. Let's put in an income of 176,000. And we're just going to calculate this down here. So looking for 176,000, do you see how it falls into that middle row in between 130, 150 and 210, 800? So we're going to take that income of 176. We're going to subtract the minimum of 130, 150 from that row. Let's see what we get. 176 minus 130, 150 is 45,850. And so this is the amount we're going to be taking 28% of because it's the amount over 130, 150. So we take our income, we subtract the amount over 130, 150 gives us 45,850. This is the amount over 150 or 130, 150. So it tells us in that row that our tax amount is 26,835 plus 28% of the amount over. So 45,850. That's the number we just got. So it's going to be 26,835 plus Now grab your calculators and do this multiply before we add. Do 0.28 times 45,850, and I'm getting 12,838. Now add that to the base amount of 26,835, and we're getting a tax amount of 39,673. And there's our answer. How'd you do? Okay, on this next one, we're going to use the worksheet that would be given on your actual IRS tax form to calculate. So it says to do at least 100 but 130. This is going to be, our income is going to be in between this row here, kind of like looking at the second row of this worksheet. So what they have us do on this worksheet is put that amount of 122 and multiply the entire amount by 25%. And then they've given us an amount to subtract off that's already been calculated. So 122,000 times 0.25, and that gives us 30,500. And then we're going to subtract 30,500 minus this subtraction amount, 5702.50. And so our actual tax amount, grab your calculator and subtract. And did you get 24,797 and 50 cents? So again, this is just following the instructions on the worksheet given to you by the IRS if this is how you want to calculate it. I think personally it's easier to just read a tax table with the amounts already calculated, but at least this gives you where it comes from. 157,800 times 0.28. So at this point, pause the video and try the second one on your own, just to make sure that you know how to do this. And then we're going to take this 44,184 and we're going to subtract the 9607 to give us our tax amount. And I'm getting 34,577. How'd you do on that second one? Okay, there are 7 income intervals in this chart. Let X represent any taxable income and express those intervals. So remember, just like the one we did on the examples, we're going to write in words here what this means. And so just at least $0 up to 9,275. And I'm just copying and pasting here, so we have to type less, the at least and up to. And then we're going to put in all these numbers, 9,275 up to 37,650. And then from 37,650 up to 91,150. And then from 91,150 up to 190,150. And from 190,150 up to 413,350. From 413,350 up to 415,50. And at least, okay, so then this one is over 415,050. And then we're going to go do the inequalities that go with these words. So we're going to say from 0 up to x up to 9275. But remember, in this case, it's not equal to either of these because at least 0, well, we're not even going to file a tax return or think about it if we have no income. So from 0 up to 9275, we're not going to put any equal to bars on either of these. Okay, now from the 9275 up to the 37,650, now we're going to start putting an equal to bar on the left-hand side of all of these because it's at least this number on the left, but less than the other number. We'll talk about the last one in a second. So this one's going to be from 9275 to 37,650. And then it's going to go from at least 37,650 to 91,150. From at least 91,150 up to 190,150. This one's going to go from 190,150 up to 413. This is a big jump, huh? And then from 413,350 up to 415,050. And then remember here that it's basically going to change. This one's going to become, for all values greater than or equal to 415. On that one. So how'd you do on this one? Are you getting good at translating the words into the inequalities? Last, here's another little graph with inputs and outputs. Remember, the input is our taxable income, the output is the tax amount, and the taxpayer has a taxable income of $39,800. So follow that along on the bottom, look up. Do you see that tax amount of $54.48 that correlates? Next, it's got a taxpayer owing $21,197. So that's our tax amount that's being given this output. So go up to the top, see the $21,197, follow it across and look down to the matching income of $102,800. $102,800 is our matching income. So given an input, find an output. Given an output, find an input. Practice. What is the approximate tax for an income of $30,000? So if we've got this 39 mark, let's go down to the bottom and see what do these lines actually mean? So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. They're not 10,000 each. They're looking like they're about maybe 15. Let's try it. 15, 30, 45, no, 12, 24, 36. Maybe they're about 12,000 each. So 30,000, 24 is going to be somewhere um, in the middle of these two lines. So if I go up, I don't know, you guys make a guesstimate, maybe around 4,000. That one's not right on a corner, so it's a little bit trickier. Probably I would take a lot of different answers on this one, depending on what you thought it was. You could probably convince me to accept it. What's the approximate tax for an income of 99? So going up here and going back a little from this 102, looking up, I don't know, maybe around 20 grand taxable. Again, you guys could argue a different number, a slightly different number, and I'd probably go with it, but go use the table to just make a quick guesstimate. Nick is paid every other week. He has $390 taken out for federal taxes. And so we need to calculate at the full amount that's coming out as a tax amount. So $390 is coming out every other week. So that's being paid 26 times per year or bi-weekly. So go ahead and take your calculators and calculate this amount to get the full tax amount. So I'm getting 10,140. How'd you do? And so that's our output. That's the tax amount that's come out of his check. Let's go up and see what maybe correlates to that. So if 20,000 is way up here, 5,000 is right here, somewhere in the middle. I don't know, let's go with, I don't know, maybe across to here and down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go with about 60,000 in income. And I'm going to put a little approximation. And again, I'm going to put a little note here that answers will vary on the last three answers because they are estimations. Okay, so if you got a slightly different answer, totally fine because we're just estimating off of the graph.